歪めた言葉につまずいて Can't fall asleep at night 行き詰まる君の視線に I feel sick tonight 傷ついて壊してく終わりなきこのパニッシュメント I feel this いつでも
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Unlimited Rail Works, Video Game Choo-Choo's anime podcast. This is episode 64. Gave me enough time to check this time. We are back at it again, as always, with Elvie.
Yep, I am here.
Sure are. Hey. John.
Hi folks, I'm here again and I'm ready to talk about anime.
I hope so, because that's what we're going to do. And this week we also have newish, I guess. I guess it's still pretty new. New to the site-ish. Again, Maverick. Maverick is here. Hi, Maverick.
Oh, wait, this is an anime podcast?
Oh.
Shit.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I know we tricked you with the train talk and the video essay stuff we were talking about. It's not about either, I'm sorry.
I came here prepared with notes about the history of the locomotive, and I just feel like a fool.
Well, it's okay, because have I got the anime for you that we just learned about?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, God. It's a pleasure to be on. I'm really excited to get into it.
Yeah, and we'll get right into it. Yeah, you know what? This is your first time. Is there anything you'd like to lead off? Do you want to lead off with like an introduction to your anime side, your anime tastes, your interests, your anime side? I know it's like a twisted thing to say, but you know what I mean. Like your interests in the field of anime, if you will.
Yeah, no, I think, honestly, as far back as I can remember video games being a part of my life, anime has definitely been there as well, even when, I didn't recognize it as anime as a kid. It was like, oh, here's Pokemon, and here's everything else that looks like Pokemon, but I can't say why it looks the same, but I just know it's different from the other stuff, and it feels kind of cheesy to say, anime has been an identifier for me as a person of color, but also at the same time, you learn when things get othered, and that was kind of one of those things where it's like, oh, this is different than, the regular stuff.
Right.
And I kind of vibe with that. And that, I feel there's always that point where you recognize, oh, this isn't just... It's not a phase. It's no, I genuinely like the stuff that I'm watching outside of what is, quote unquote, my intended age group. I remember the times where it's I would sit back to watch Toonami when it was late night, and my friends were kind of just dude, what are you doing? Let's go hang out or whatever. And it's no, I want to catch this episode of Zatch Bell. I want to catch up with the early parts of Naruto before it completely took over the whole show. And from there, it definitely evolved into, well, where else can I get this? My older sister was definitely an inspiration in terms of, some of the stuff that I was getting into. I would sort of be looking over her shoulder because she was getting online with some stuff and, watching little bits of Higurashi when I shouldn't have been watching Higurashi. And a lot more, shoujo-esque stuff with her is how I actually watched Ouran High School Host Club for the first time. And, from there, at that point, it just has become something where I do try and keep up when I can. And when I have the time, I always try to at least keep one series alongside with me, on the concurrent season. I'm thankful that this is the season that I've really just sunk in, because there are a lot of I'm following 9.
Yeah, it's crazy this season.
I can't think of the last time that I was following that many, honestly. and it's good that I can still do it when like not everything is on Funimation, because fucking Devil Sight, horrible.
It's unreal. I know we've talked about it a lot on this show, but it is unreal how bad Funimation's everything is. Just everything.
No, it's like I have to have a Hulu subscription, well, because one, I'm also watching like King of the Hill and Frasier, my essentials, you know. But also, if anything trickles down from the Funimation library to Hulu, then I'm cashing it on Hulu, and that is like, thankfully I've caught into like some stuff, but yeah, like it's definitely, I like anime. Having that moment where I could say, I don't need to be in anime club to like anime was definitely a good point too, and I think that helps me keep on the straight and narrow.
I you know, that's a good way to think of it, because I think similarly I also like didn't detach the idea of anime for a while, from just being like, oh, this is the thing I watch or whatever, and I never got involved in an anime club anywhere. So for me, it was like, I'm just reading all these manga and watching like Naruto and a couple things online on shady sites. So like, I never sought out any community for that or anything at the time. And I think it was fine ultimately. Now I have a community. Now I have all y'all, so it's fine. But yeah. All right, very cool, very good, great introduction, A+. Do you just want to talk about something first too? I don't want to just put you on the spot like this and make you keep talking, but would you like to lead our conversation with something that you've been watching from this season, this crazy anime season?
I mean, like, I feel like I could at least start by going through the stuff that is on my watch list.
Sure.
And then from there, because like a lot of it does coincide with like what a lot of people are watching. I'm not the person that's gonna like actively be like, oh, I don't like this because it's popular, save for like very specific shows when it's like, oh, this is trying to be the popular thing. But no, you know, like, I'm keeping up with Odd Taxi, I'm keeping up with Zombieland Saga. Some of the stuff that I don't hear as much about are those Snow White notes, Backflip, the gymnastics anime, that one, Burning Kabaddi, a show about the sport of kabaddi.
Yeah.
Those do like keep me interested in terms of being the same idea but executed in different ways, and I'll touch onto that later. But I think one thing I do at least want to start with is the fact that I've been caught up with and watching Tokyo Revengers, and that has been a really fun time. I enjoy the way that the time travel works. I know that last week Elvie was mentioning how the mechanics of it did get a little bit murky.
Yeah.
But
At least to me, yeah.
Honestly, thinking about it in the context of like how the drop system and Dream Drop distance.
Wait,
Wow, sure.
oh, okay.
No,
Yeah,
'cause
I never
what it
thought
is-
about that.
No, I get that makes sense from what I've heard from Elvie. That definitely tracks.
Because ultimately that's what it is. Because Takemichi, the
shoot.
character who is the one who is like going through the process of having to relive high
Yeah,
school,
the main character.
doing so in a way so that like the friends that he is now making and the connections that he's making in the past stay connected and together, so that he can save his old girlfriend and undo the damage that's like been held up through the Tokyo Manji gang. It is very much the case where it's like he goes back to the past. It's like, what's that, 2017? So like July 3rd, 2017, he goes back to July 3rd, 2005. He will stay from July 3rd, 2005 until whenever he has to go find his girlfriend's brother in that timeline and then come back. So it's like, oh, 7 days passed? Okay, cool. Now I'm going to like high five and I'm back in July. I said 7th? Or it is now 10 days forward and I'm back in the present. Like, time is still going on because he is literally just comatose, I guess, in the present.
Yeah, I
then-
think that's what happens. He's just knocked out in like bed and behind a police station.
And even more when he's in the past, like, it is not that he, because like from episode 6, there is definitely some awareness. Like as things are starting to change, there are people that are becoming aware of like, hey, stuff's like up.
Yeah.
And it's specifically because when Takemichi goes back to the past and his girlfriend explains this, it's like, when you're here, you feel so grown up and mature. Because it is not that he is changing himself. He is literally like repossessing his body to actually do the decisions. But whenever he has to go back to the present, 2005 Takemichi is still a piece of shit that is like not thinking things through because he is an idiot middle schooler.
Yep.
And it is so interesting seeing not only the repercussions of like, okay, you have to make connections in the past, but doing so in a way where, one, like you're not playing with a full set of cards. You have maybe some idea of the interconnectivity of what's going on, but part of that is also involved with how exactly you are then like altering events. So whether or not like Takemichi is making an impact on people, like right now, the current revelation is that like, the leader of the Tokyomanji gang got into a bad setup with like another gang leader. And the combination of these two is what led to this dark and dangerous path. Turns out, like he had a moral compass in the fucking coolest kid ever, fucking Draken, who in episode 6 we find out is just Ichiban Kasuga. Fucking just grew up in the red light district and is just the sweetest boy who can also kick ass. And like likes to engage in a delinquency. He's just about it. But recognizing like, like this, we need to make sure nothing happens to this guy. And we're running out of time before that ultimately happens and things go south. And right now, the most recent episode ended on a cliffhanger, sort of like seeing how things will turn out. Because it's like, surprise, we thought we had more time until the catastrophic event. Turns out, no, like we couldn't predict that. We're going to have to deal with it now. And however we are going to deal with it, who knows? It's been a fun ride. I appreciate a story that definitely is focused on like the whole recognition of like, I guess middle school is okay for me. Oh no, wait, it actually sucked too. But if I can actually try and change stuff here, then like fuck it. What else do I have? It's been an interesting ride, and that's at least still had plenty of steam so far.
Yeah. It's been a very, very good series to me. It's definitely one of those that stands out to me, particularly in this season. I emphasize this, but I really appreciate that we have a character here who is like someone who is, we would consider to be like less than average. Someone who's weak, someone who's quote unquote pathetic, but like he's realistic. I feel like he's realistically conveyed as to why, and we see very clearly why, because that's a pretty screwed up middle school experience. Now that we're seeing all of this in like hindsight, like what, you were abused and like involved in like gang violence and like unfortunately got like intersected with that, and now it's coming to light too that like there was more at stake as well, as opposed to his girlfriend potentially dying, whatever disaster is. Like he's finding out all these other relationships that he probably took for granted also unfortunately are catching wind on this. And like it was a very poignant thing over, like, in like one of the last cliffhangers, like before the most recent episode, where he, it just goes beyond that he was going to save his girlfriend. He outright like says, like, I'm going to save everyone. And that was a very, strong moment for him. Like this moment of confidence where he's able to find that, like you were talking about, where it's weird, where he's like his adult self bringing that consciousness into the past, and he's able to bring that air of consciousness into like a kid's body that he didn't have before. But when he goes back into the present, he's once again like, in his regular body as it should be, but he's still carrying like all that baggage he had years ago because of the things he still has yet to undo. your insight in comparing this to Dream Drop Distance, I think definitely, brings a definitely different perspective in terms of like, okay, it's not as bad as it seems or it sounds. I think it's very interesting to look at it, yeah, like from a video game perspective, where it's just he's just making these benchmarks. Essentially across this like invisible map, this like imaginary map, and in a way it makes sense as to why like things are not really streamlined, but I guess it's just like stuff that's like making progress on like a meter, right? It's not really there. We're at the end of the day, we're not supposed to think about it too hard, but it's just really funny you made that comparison. I think to see how time traveling works in the series as like just a video game progress is a very funny thing. That I think like removes the issues I've had with it.
Yeah, no, like ultimately, like it's about heart. You gotta have heart. You gotta face your fears. You gotta sanctuary.
Yep. Yeah, simple and clean. Yeah, you gotta do it simple and clean. Yes,
ultimately, he is wanting a simple and clean future.
Right. Exactly.
And also the OP whips. Like,
yes, it does. It is so good. I think even the sequence that goes with it, like, is great. Like, it's.
Yeah.
At first, I thought, at first glance, it seems like it's a clip show. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like it's not. It's like, oh, whoa, okay, those are actually like originally animated bits too. It's a very good opening sequence. It definitely stands out.
If anything, it's like a mild spoiler.
Yeah, it does.
Like,
it is. It just outright shows characters in the future and vice versa. It's like, oh, okay, all right, I see where this is going.
But it's also good that like it'll show you this stuff, and it's like you're gonna. I appreciate when a show is like, it doesn't matter that you know this information now.
Yeah, it's how you get there. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It's more about the presentation and the experience of getting to that point than it is knowing like, oh, such and such thing happened.
Yeah, and I think that especially increases the tension of like time travel stories, you know, throughout like all of media. Like we've always had the, you know, we always feel anxious over like, and I think because like this twist has been done so many times, we immediately start feeling anxious over like, oh, is the main character going to accidentally just trigger the bad stuff anyway? Which again, I've had that question in my mind whenever I watch every episode of this series. I feel like that's a potential thing that could happen. So it definitely turns up and amps up like the energy for, you know, to anticipate what, you know, what's going to happen next, right? We don't know so far, but so far, like, I think like all the information we're gathering is being executed and like given to us in a very compelling way. That's like, yeah, this is like a great mystery. Like, it's like what happens here, you know? And as our main character is like going backwards to figure out what the hell happened here, what can I do to stop it? We're kind of like following along the same trajectory. We're going backwards, even though we know what happens. But is it possible to prevent that, or like, is it going to happen anyway? And like, are things going to turn out in the way we don't expect, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, any change that does happen is also in the perspective that, like, time is still going forward in, like, the present.
Mm-hmm.
And so it'll only be... Literally any sort of positive change will only happen, like, once he's clued in about it.
Right, right.
And sort of having to live with the fact that, like, oh, this, like, the experiences of my shitty future or of my shitty present still occurred, but at the very least, I will have, like, the positive experience from now on. Mm-hmm. It's very interesting to see, like, how he's gonna have to just, like, experience the entirety of all that, like, by himself, mainly. With everyone else sort of just being like partially clued in as to what's going on, but
definitely,
it's solid.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like a good show. It's been one I've been so behind the season for a million reasons, but it's definitely just from Elvie had been talking about it the first few times. It sounded great. I did look up the opening after the first week. I think it aired because Elvie said it was a banger back then, and it was a banger. And hopefully I'll be able to fit it in before the season so I can catch up to y'all, talk
There's
about
so
it. That'd be good. You know what? The only thing I am caught up on, really, is Back Arrow. Do you remember this one when I was talking about
That's still going?
It's still going.
That was
it's
from
two
last
course.
season.
2 course.
What?
Yeah, so this is the show where the dude crashed, right? He crashed,
Yeah.
and then there's China, the Western Zone, and
Yeah,
France
they're traveling,
all fighting.
and then the main thing I remember from the show, you mentioned like there's just this terrible like annoying old man in it who's just
Yeah, he's gone now. He doesn't do anything.
oh, okay, so is it better? Like,
God bless.
I don't know if it's better. So yeah, that
Okay.
man just ruined everything in the plot. Like he sucked really bad. But no, now they introduced this character about halfway through the France arc that is just like I guess supposed to be like Julius Caesar. He's like
wait, but they're in
huge.
France.
Yes. So there's a lot of layers here. Okay, but yes. He seems to be from somewhere else, is what they're implying.
Oh,
but he's like the
what?
dude who elects the ruler of France. I guess you could say
Okay.
something like a Holy Roman Empire, almost something like
okay.
that. But he looks like Caesar. He's like this big. He looks like this big like guy who's like like the height of like gluttony or whatever, which is like eh. But then he injects himself with 7 wine bottles. He just shoves like wine bottles into various like little things inside his skin, and then he turns into like a really buff guy.
I don't think that's how alcohol
Yeah, I don't know what's
works.
going on with him in general. But he seems to be like keyed into things. He's like the main antagonist now. He's causing all sorts of issues. I feel like this show it's totally fine. That's why I keep watching it, obviously. It's totally fine. And there are moments where it is genuinely enjoyable, but it feels like such a thing of like, where is this going? Like we are whatever, like 16, 17 episodes in now. I think 17 episodes in. And I just don't have a clear idea of like what themes they're trying to express, like what ideas they're trying to get across, where the plot is even going. Just recently, so the whole thing's surrounded by a wall, right? That's the gimmick of it. Is there's those 3 zones are trapped inside this giant wall. They all like worship the wall because they've been there their whole lives, generations and generations. And this guy came from behind the wall, the main character, Back Arrow. And he wants to get out. He wants to go back out. He doesn't remember anything, but he wants to go back out. And they finally went like behind the wall at one point, and there was just another wall again, like behind it. And they didn't seem too phased by that. They were just like, oh, of course there's another wall. But they haven't done anything with like they haven't revealed anything. And I think like when you're 17 episodes into an original series and you haven't like shown your cards yet, that worries me about if you're ever going to show your cards. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think
Yeah.
like a good example of this is like when Gurren Lagann came out. Gurren Lagann's part 1 ends and you have a rough idea of what's going on, but there's like hints as to what's going on in the future without outright saying it. They like set up like when part 1 ends, Lord Genome says like, don't go to the moon or whatever. Like, don't fuck with the moon. So then you know, okay, well, something's going to happen when they fuck with the moon. Right? And that's the crux of part 2. But there's been nothing here. The whole series, they've just been, I want to go beyond the wall. And it's like, why? And he's like, because I want to. And it feels like they haven't moved past that. They haven't given any of the characters, like, compelling goals. Which, I mean, like, who knows? Maybe next week's episode changes everything, but I don't like the last episode. They just had him like he went like berserk mode, the main character, and like iced a bunch of dudes. He just turned them into like goo. Like he just like shot like a light laser out and they all turned to goo, and it was just very out of nowhere.
He couldn't do that before.
No, he couldn't, and couldn't
Okay.
control it either. He was just doing it to everyone in the area or whatever. And they were like, no! And then he just ran away. And that was how that episode ended. But, yeah, it's just the type of thing where it's like, I'm not certain where they're going with this. And I feel like, I don't know if I'll ever know at this rate, right? Like, I feel like it's so, like, it's so just, like, fluff most of the time.
Yeah.
It's just, like, a lot of like swirly politics, quote unquote, but the politics never go anywhere meaningful or like express something or like even express what that nation's about, because they always just do backstabbing and twists and whatever, and people just seem to react arbitrarily to things.
It sounds like they just like each episode seems to focus on like a particular issue, but then
Yes, exactly.
they're
There's
just
no broader
meandering.
issue.
Yeah, they're just meandering on all these things, but none of them seem connected with each other. And then like the bigger issue at hand is just being ignored. Like the
Yes,
creator,
until
like,
the
okay, they're in
episode
the
where
wall.
they go, yeah. There's like been 2 episodes where they go to the wall. And the first one, like, it made sense because, like, so the first one, it was like an okay episode where they go to the wall because it was like, hey, they went to the wall. They found out it's tough you can't get through the wall because it's made of like robot shit or whatever. And then that means like, okay, well, let's go to France since they are the most technologically advanced. They'll know. That's a good crux. Like that makes sense why they would go there. But then they go there and then like multiple arcs of just nothing to do with that. They don't even get the technology to examine the wall. A magic ghost appears and says, I can make you go through the wall. And then they do. It's just, it feels like they're just like throwing a lot of things together.
What? Can they fly up? I'm sorry. this
Yes,
is
they
too-
can, and they get turret blasted by like satellites.
What? Oh my gosh! Is there,
Yeah.
is there like a? Holy shit!
Because no one could fly.
Oh,
really,
okay. There's no
so
aircraft.
he could fly because
Okay.
he's from beyond the wall or whatever.
Okay.
And France just learned how to fly, but only like a couple of their units can.
Okay.
It's just it's a very
Interesting.
strange show that I feel like I feel like with so many original works, it's like I understand why this was greenlit, right? It's a good idea. It's interesting. You want to see the Code Geass and the Gurren Lagann writer also working together. That's a good combo, and it's like an interesting conceit, like the Ring and Chinese versus Western versus France. But it's just like, how does so many original works not get there? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do they not like have the script done and ready when it's time to make these shows? Because it feels like most of this is just being written on the fly.
Yeah, like the way you describe it, it does sound that way. Like they didn't really lay a strong foundation as to like the beginning and the end, and then like they just started it and then they just kept going with like developing
Yeah.
the middle part, but then like where's the end? Like what is the end potentially
Exactly.
gonna be? Yeah,
Yeah, so like
they're gonna be in the wall forever. That's
yeah,
that's it.
like
There's-
I wonder, is
that's
it just gonna be like episode 24 or whatever the last episode is? They go through the wall and like, oh, I
That's
don't know.
it.
That's it. Yeah.
They
At
just
this
don't
point,
explain
I
it,
wouldn't
yeah.
be surprised because there's so much politics now that they've built up that they have to explore. But yeah, it's going, it's going. I hope they get it all together by the end because I do like it conceptually. It's just I feel like they just so much filling for time. Like this is the episode this week where we got to fill for time. That type of feeling. John, you're watching Gallon Dino, huh? Again?
Yeah. So yeah, Gallon Dino was on last year, and I fell off of it when it hit the when it paused for COVID reasons, and so we started watching it again in Shoots Chat, and there is just a moment in that show because it's separated between the animated segments and the live action segments. There's a moment in like I think episode 3 where they go out to an open air market and everyone it's in Asia, so people wear masks, just like on the reg, but there's
Yeah.
a moment where like everyone is wearing masks and you're just like, oh, this is when it started. Oh. It's it's a dark memory, like legit. There's just like a second where just like, oh, this was last year when shit hit the fan. All right, but no, it's still very funny. I I talked a lot about it last year because of how much I enjoyed it, and I would recommend it to anybody because it is just completely off the shits. Very very talented people working on that show, and I'm excited to see what they do next. I still, maybe one of these days I'll give Pop Team Epic another shot because I was a little mean to that show. I remember being quite frustrated with it. But maybe if I just watch through it once.
The last few episodes, I would say, are very strong in my opinion of Pop T Beckett.
Because they start playing around with it, right? Like it's
yeah,
less,
because yeah, the last couple ones they just start outright like doing a whole episode dedicated to parodying like soap operas, and it's
yeah,
and it's pretty good. And then the last episode where they just kind of cap off like everything about like those two girls' relationship is really funny.
Because
it became less about skits and like longer ones. That's what happens.
Yeah, because my big issue was that it was just the skits animated, and like those like 4-koma are so strong, and they're like perfectly paced as 4-koma. I just thought having them be animated, even if they are like 25 seconds or whatever, it still kind of drags the joke on for too long, in my opinion, which is like a weird it's a weird thing to say, but that's just how I felt about it. And then also having it repeat just kind of made it worse for me, where it's like, all right, now this is like a 50-second long joke that is done twice. It's
when the voice actors flip.
It's a weird opinion, I know, because I do really like Pop Team Epic. Like, I love the manga a lot, but different strokes.
Listen, as someone that like had to see several Vine stars try and pivot into YouTube, I get it.
That makes sense. That's a good way to think about it. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it was that bad. That is just how I felt about it. But Gallon Dino is absolutely not that, because I think it's just paced a lot smarter, and I love the colors in that show. It is just a delight to look at, because everything is super like poppy, and it's very much like a Gyaru's fingernails, I would say. Just very bright, very loud, but also just a great expression.
How far are you all in through it at this point?
We're only on episode 3. We've been watching an episode a week.
Your mention of like, oh wow, this is where the COVID benchmark. Like, it's also very apparent at some point where the live action skits get like off the rails, and like it becomes very apparent where they had to adjust things in regards to like that actor. Like he's kind of like old, not I don't want to say he's old, but he's like above middle age, and that's like the at-risk age group, right? And then he it's not really spoiling, but like it becomes apparent where they don't focus on like that subplot they like started because of that issue, probably, where they just didn't want to be like interact. So the live action segments start going off the rails, focusing on other things and completely like random like shit, stuff that might go over your head and stuff that may be like, why is this, kind of cringy things, but understandably so. It becomes very apparent that they don't focus on that for a while, and return to that like storyline because of like the pandemic. So it's
right.
But then you see more of the animation stuff becoming like even better in quality. So I guess it's like a 2 for 2, but it's just really funny how this is like, I think, the pivotal anime that just demonstrates, okay, what was the industry like when this stuff went down, and I think this anime is a great example of this, because due to the fact that it has to deal with due to the fact that it uses mixed media, and that makes things a lot more complicated.
Yeah, it's super interesting to go back to and just experience as a time capsule. It's unfortunate.
It's not even that long ago. Yeah,
it's upsetting. It's unfortunate, but then at the same time, the rest of the show is so goddamn funny. It's worth it. But yeah, you are right that like I never really thought that through, because that whole bit with the older actor and like Shota Aoi coming back, and they're trying to like revert, save him from getting killed or whatever by the landlady. They dropped that entirely, and it's like I was just thinking, oh, they just did that because it would be kind of funny to drop it entirely. But no, you're probably right. They just probably didn't want to get anyone sick.
That's what the real reason was. it's like it kind of wins both ways. They just dropped it because it's just pure. They just dropped. Yeah, that's what I mean. It works both ways. They dropped it because it's just funny for them to forget about it because that happens in a lot of series and they don't explain it. But also, I think there actually was a practical reason why they did it. But they do revisit it. I'll assure you. Like they do conclude it at some point. But
Okay.
Throughout a chunk of the series, it's just like completely forgotten and never referenced again until the end.
It's very
which is
good.
funny in itself.
Yeah, I think it was on like episode 7 or 8 when it went on hiatus, and that is when I never really went back to it. So I'll see if folks want to like double up on episodes or something so we can catch up, because I just don't want to dump, like, I don't want to be like, all right, because we're watching a lot of stuff, we're watching a good chunk of stuff, so I don't want to be like, all right, we're gonna watch like all this stuff and 2 episodes of Pokemon, 2 episodes of Precure, and fucking 4 episodes of Gal and Dino. We're gonna be here until 2 a.m. Kiss my ass.
Oh God, I'm marathon.
Yeah, we're not gonna do that.
That's the anime club. That is the real anime club energy.
I mean, we are kind of.
It's called Precure.
Yes.
You uncultured swine.
We are kind of being like, we are doing like a weekly anime club basically, but it is just us watching a few shows together, and that's it. It's I don't want to be overwhelming. I don't want to like do any of that shit. But I do also think having a show to watch, like, overarching is nice. After we do Gal and Dino, we'll probably pick something else. But, that is what we have for now. I did, like, if we had way more time to do stuff, we would be watching Chunibyo in there, but I don't want to rush that either, because I feel like, again, we're doing it once a week, so we'd end up having to be like, okay, here's fucking like 3 episodes of the like each week basically until we get to the, that seems like a lot. But yeah, Gal and Dino, watch it if you want to be reminded of when we could go outside without a mask, and then slowly be reminded again of when we had to, and then now we're here a year later where you're supposed to, the government is telling you can go out without a mask, and I'm like, no, fuck you.
No, actually, in Gal and Dino's world, they were always wearing masks. If you go and look at those early segments, they were still wearing masks.
That is true. Yeah.
But no, yeah. No, good. LV.
Yeah.
What do you want to talk about?
Ooh, okay. What do I want to talk about? Okay. I am extremely impressed by Vivi for an eye song, which I for like the first couple episodes in, I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. This is like crazy. This is like a nuts like action sci-fi thing. But then more episodes in, I'm not fully caught up, and I'll explain why. But more episodes in, I'm like, oh my gosh, this like rules. This is like insane. This is such an insane shit. And I'm glad like Wit Studio like gave up Attack on Titan for this. Like a great sacrifice, like a great exchange. Yeah, just to reiterate briefly, this is a show revolving around like I need to reference this because it's very blatant and just very coincidental that they happen to be very similar. But okay. Unfortunately, we have to remind ourselves that Detroit Become Human exists as a game. It exists, but it's a similar premise in which there's a whole like tense relationship between the AIs, aka androids, or realistic, human, like humanoid functioning robots, in this world with the rest of with humanity. Like there's a tense relationship there where like the AIs like work in roles of servitude. Or like in roles of service for humans mostly. Whether it be like like entertainers, for instance, like entertainers, not which is a very different level, as in like as like human entertainer, whatnot. But yeah, the main character, she is like an idol, basically. She's an AI idol. She's an entertainer. Like a lot of people love her. She's like very famous, what have you. And one day she just gets like visited by this other AI coming from the future, saying like, there's gonna be like a Terminator robot apocalypse equivalent if you don't help me stop this. So she's just doing all these different missions secretly, and I don't understand how people don't recognize her. It's really funny because she's like a famous like robot idol, like Hatsune Miku. She literally looks like Miku kind of, because she has the same hair color, but not quite. She yeah, and then she just does all these crazy like missions and does all these stunts, and I don't know, I am very overwhelmed talking about the show because I was just blown away by the last episode I've seen. I could not believe what I saw. I was like, I could not believe this is an anime today that was animated with these insane action sequences I have seen before my eyes. I felt like I was watching like a 90s. I felt like I was watching like an action from like at the height of like the 90s. Like all those like guys, like, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger, you know, Sylvester, so like it felt like that tonally. And yeah, like she does all this stuff undercover, like trying to basically intervene. You know, speaking of time traveling, to show it's time traveling, this is essentially what this is. She's trying to prevent like what potentially could be like a huge rebellion between AI and humans, and like just horrible destruction and war in the future by intervening in all these tiny events, being just being hinted and guided by like this utter robot, like just giving her all this hints, who's like a twisted fucker. For a while he inhabited like a teddy bear, so it was just very like it's just very like Monokuma like level in terms of like, okay, here's like a twisted animal mascot just doing all these twisted things and being a shithead, whatnot. That's like his character. And yeah, just dispatching these tasks to her and like giving her hints as to like what to do. And yeah, and like and then like it's across 100 years. So, you know, before I get into that, but like, and yeah, I don't know. It just rules so far. It's just like an interesting mix of like, music and I think some other person, I don't know if Melissa has referenced it, but like someone has mentioned like they felt like it compares to Macross in a way, as well, Macross 7 specifically, because it also has a similar premise in which like AI take over, and like music is a huge intersection when it comes to like being used as like a storytelling tool as well. Yeah, you know, and speaking of which, the music is great, which makes sense. Because again, this is like a show revolving around a main character who's an idol, and that would be kind of weird if it wasn't. And yeah, like again, with Studio, it's just like all these action sequences where she's just kicking ass and beating the shit out of people is really astounding, and it's just funny. Like it's just something unexpected that I came going to this, and they really amped up the level here, where. At some point, she just headbutts someone, and I thought that was the most hilarious thing I have ever seen. I was just like, oh my god, I can't believe I am watching this like cute anime girl just fucking like annihilate another robot. I was just astounded. I mentioned this in this like anime chat server, but there was a fight sequence between her and another AI who basically, you know, just as a quick thing, that's what this other AI was corrupted, and she felt like she was being manipulated to, you know, for like against some sort of like intention to aware that this revolution or whatever was going to happen in the future. There's basically like some sort of fringe like terrorist group that like seems to be intentionally stirring up shit between AI and humans. And yeah, so she's like running into all these other AI that she has to stop or kind of like help shut down because they might be pivotal in terms of like setting off the chain of events that would cause all the problems in the future. And she literally has like a battle like with this one girl, like again a fist fight, just a full on brawl, and like literally before she like fucking headbutts this like other girl, like she the other girl like insults her saying, you know, I'm gonna turn you into a calculator. Which just, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like a big brain insult for like robots to say this shit to each other. I don't know, I was just blown away. Gosh, yeah, like this, but yeah, it's not like a deep, like think, like sort of sci-fi philosophical show you know think of. Again, unfortunately referencing Detroit Become Human in terms of like, okay, you know, once again we have this whole like AI dilemma, like, you know, like at what point should we be sympathetic, you know, like at what point should we be sympathetic to like these things, or like in the end, or like should they also have rights, or like should they be respected, like all those other questions over like the sentience of like what AI is, etc. You know, it's not a deep thing. This is like a thing that has been explored many times, sometimes just bad. And in this case, it's just like, okay, whatever. That's just it just goes that far, so far. Like that's pretty much what has been going on, like every episode and every theme so far. Like one of the latest episodes I've seen involved like a guy falling in love with an AI and like marrying her and whatnot, and then like he starts getting really possessive with her, and he starts like like I think at some point she shuts down. I was a little unclear as to what happened there, but like I think he starts like obsessively using her for like nefarious things and like using her programming to do horrible things. So that was like a whole dilemma there, especially when it comes to like autonomy of like the AI and like their bodies, etc., which was interesting. But at its core, this is just like Terminator. This is just Terminator, like as an anime series, and it just rocks so far. It's animated well. I think I've said it already, but just emphasizing how insane and like captivating the combat and action scenes are. And yeah, like but just to get to my problem with the show, like the whole thing is that the whole series of future events that are to happen are apparently like 100 years from now. And it seems like the 12 to 13 episodes we have are going to go through like all 100 years. It seems I just didn't catch it on until now. Like every 2 episodes seems to focus on one subplot, one arc, or like one mission that our main character is doing. And in between each story, several years pass, and that's kind of, I don't know, that to me is a little weird. I'm a little taken aback by that, and I'm not sure how to feel about that. But like, maybe a few more stories in and more missions in, like I'll maybe have a more conclusive thought on that. But like, I don't know. I'm concerned that they might rush things, right? I'm concerned that like I might, there's like a whole world here that I would love to be more immersed in, that I'm not sure, that I'm concerned that we won't be able to get in like the full span of these episodes. I don't know if this show is guaranteed to have another, season or whatever, but
Right.
It's an original series that very much seems like it's set in stone in terms of like how many episodes they want to go for here. But they're going to try to go through 100 years of like this android girl beating the shit out of people. In that span. But I don't know. It's been a ride so far. Yeah. I think it's Vivi. I think it's pronounced Vivi. I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. But man, what an insane show.
It's impressive to me that Wit Studio has rocketed so high in my like opinion of them in the last couple years. Like, when I watched Magus Bride and loved Magus Bride, I didn't even know that was like them, right? Like I didn't even register to me that was a studio that was known and did things. But like ever since then, like they did Vinland Saga, which I loved. They did The Great Pretender, which is good. Mm-hmm. What's the other thing that they did? Not Attack on Titan. I'm not going to praise that here. What's the other thing they did? I don't have to Google it right now.
They did After the
Vinland
Rain.
Saga.
I said Vinland Saga.
Oh! I don't know what I like. Went
I
through
feel
my
like there's something else they made that
Did they do Cabaneri and Iron Fortress, or am I wrong?
I think they did.
They did.
Or like was it a studio that was emulating? Okay, I was not sure.
them.
They did that. They did Attack on Titan, but vampires, aka Seraph of the End.
Oh, that's right.
Oh yeah,
that.
I forgot about that.
If you don't remember which one that is, it's the one where they all wear green.
Ah, yes. Okay, I'm looking right now at it. They did the OVA for Girl from the Other Side. That's what I was thinking of. That I really liked. And they're doing a series for it now too, which is interesting.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm glad that they're continuing to make like at least very interesting and like I would say like probably more cohesive original anime than we're used to.
Yeah.
Recently, because Great Pretender was very like focused. I think like it had a good idea of what it was trying to be. And this seems like the same way.
Yeah, I feel the same, and it does. I fall for this like every time. I love it whenever there's like music, just juxtaposed music that doesn't fit what's going on in the scene to like show how messed up a scene is. I love that. I fall for it every time. I'm like, ooh, and that happens many times in the series. I'm like, ooh, yeah, that's nice. Even though like it's a very cheap tactic to psychologically manipulate the viewer as to what's going on, but this happens many times, and I'm like, ooh, that's solid. Like there was a very good cold open they did where we kind of get like a preview of like what's going to happen in an episode, and it immediately cuts to like Vivi like on stage doing her day job as like a singer, as an entertainer. Again, still don't know how people are like, oh yeah, you're like that famous robot girl. Like why is she like undercover as like a crazy like agent? And she starts singing basically the theme song, and it does this amazing transition into basically an opening sequence that I've never seen in an anime before do. It's something, it felt very cinematic. I feel like that's like something a lot of films do, where the opening credit sequence is very much intertwined with actually jumping into like the movie itself. Yeah, cinematic is the word. And that's where I keep just referring to Terminator, because again, it's the similar plot, but it actually genuinely feels cinematic. Like every episode, like every 2 episodes, again, like I said, like every 2 episodes seems to be like one mission focus. It feels like a movie. It feels like a strong action movie every time I watch it.
That's another one I want to check out, because I know multiple people going crazy for it all the time.
Yeah.
So, we'll see which one wins out of that or Tokyo.
I know, like, yeah, I do see those 2 referenced a lot, and I do agree with those opinions. Like, yeah, those are both solid, I think.
Maverick, do you want to talk about? Okay, well, you could pick what you want to talk about, but I am curious about these 3 sports/hobby animes that you have here, because especially Kabaddi.
Kabaddi's the only one I'm aware of. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like I had mentioned, I'm watching 3 different shows that are basically doing like, oh, here's a guy that's being very like learning about a sport or a hobby and how this affects him and the people around him. If you've seen a sports anime, sports shonen even, you know what this is. You have an idea of what you're gonna get. But I'm currently watching Backflip, Burning Kabaddi, and those Snow White Notes, and it's very interesting to see the gradient from a very well done show that has a very likable cast, a serviceable show that for all intents and purposes is fine, and more of its merit comes from focusing on something so abstract, and a show where I kind of wish that the initial episode and what it presented was more of the direction that they went into, rather than something that feels very by the books. So, Backflip is focused on a kid who is like he's good at sports. He knows how to do sports well. He does like soccer and baseball well. He's not like the best at them, but it's serviceable enough where it's like, yeah, you could probably get into like team, like you could get scouted. You're talented enough to get scouted. You can be on the radar, but you can tell like he's not really like into it. And on like the last day of his team, or wait, I might be misremembering that. He might be a bench warmer. Either way, it's like it is less his decision to be a part of these things as it is like, oh, like I got recommended to do these, so I'll do them. I don't have like any aversion to being a part of these sports. But at the end of his last game for middle school, he in the nearby like sports complex, he ends up going in to see the final or one competition for rhythmic gymnastics, and sees like the men's team, the men's rhythmic gymnastics competition, and in seeing that, he's kind of just like, wow, this looks really cool. I kind of wish that I could do that. Hey, Mom, Dad, is it cool if I apply to this high school because they have, like, this team that I'm interested in? And they're like, yeah, dude, like, you're showing that you're interested. Please, like, do hobbies because you want to do hobbies. If you want to do this sport, then do this sport. And ultimately, it is a story about just, like, how this is a guy just wanting to actually have motivation in his life and having, like, a want to, like, having a drive and, like, finding a drive when you've more or less been okay with the way that your life's been going. With the first episode literally being titled, like, I want to backflip. And it just gets to a very primal thing that I think works with so many sports shows, where it is having the main character, and who is often like the lens for most of the show, go, this thing is cool, I want to learn how to do this. That gives such a good frame of reference. It's what makes Haikyuu so enjoyable to me, as someone that has just finished the series in its entirety and hasn't been tired of it. And I'm really excited for, like, now that we're halfway through Backflip, I'm really excited to see where it's going to go. Now that we've sort of, like, built up the main team, we've also had a chance to even look at the rival team that they're going to be at odds ends with. And, or, like, it's the whole bit where it's like, oh, we're rival teams, so we're practically the same, except for, like, the other freshman who's got his own whole deal, but that's another rival for the main character, which is cool or whatever. And it's fun, it's chill, everyone's kind of dumb, which is fun, and it's a good time.
I just want to quickly comment where, like, that's a very interesting point you make, where this is a show about, and, you know, mentioning Haikyuu as well, like, this is a show where, like, the characters actually are very passionate about the sport they want to do, and they want to do it, and they make, at least the main characters, like, we're talking about the specific, like, central character that we're following along. And a lot of sports anime tends to be two things. The main character is a prodigy, or the sport or hobby in question is being, like, thrust upon them as, like, character development, and they just never had interest in it whatsoever. Like, those are recurrently what I've noticed in, like, a lot of things, and including the club, you know, cute anime girls doing club or finding a very specific niche interest. If to allude, like, to Super Cub, for instance, and like that was not an interest they had at first, and then maybe they actually become the prodigy. They become really good at it, and, like, but those are, like, two things I've noticed, like, in a lot of these things.
Yeah, and it's very funny. Like, there is early on literally this sensation where it's like, no, like, we all in our team, like, felt the similar sensation. We saw someone else do this, and it was like, shit, I want, like, it is a very base sensation of, I saw you do a backflip. I want to learn how to do a backflip. You're telling me I can do more? Fuck it, man. I'm just going to go ahead and learn how to do gymnastics. It is so unabashed in the simplicity of the desire, but it's also like, that's what makes it work. Like, again, just because Haikyuu is such the prevalent thing in my mind, it's as much the actual growth of the character as it is them just realizing, like, oh, I want to do the cool thing, and then realizing, like, oh, the rest of this sport is cool. And that's the peak of, like, this trio. Burning Comedy is a very serviceable show. It's noticeable in terms of a lot of factors. One of the things definitely is just, like, the animation. So there's a lot of CG work in Backflip, but it's done with a lot of care, and a lot of people are praising the way that the animation is being taken care of, just to make sure that you do have the fluid motion of rhythmic gymnastics. It's important that it looks clean, it looks precise, and as soon as that looks, like, messy in a way, you kind of just lose the whole show. It's the same studio that worked on stuff like The Great Passage, if you remember that one a bit back. So, some of the examples, but Burning Comedy definitely takes a dip in animation quality, but it's not in a way that is, like, awful. It is very much a 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 show, and I don't mind that overall. I like that it is a very reliable show, and where you take sort of the intricacies of Backflip, in Burning Comedy you go, here's a kid who was taught to be the best at sports so much that everyone on the team was like, yo, we fucking hate you. Go, please leave and never come back. And so he's like, fine, I hate all sports. It's not that I hate, he was on the soccer team. It's not that I hate soccer. It's that I hate all sports because I'm the best at everything and no one can get to my level. Instead of doing sports, I'm just going to try and get into live streaming. This is literally the first episode.
They become a, God, streamer?
It's like, I'm going to try and get into live streaming because this is my bit now, I guess. And
that probably explains a lot, unfortunately.
Through some circumstance, he gets introduced to the sport of comedy, and literally, as you, the viewer, will be asking alongside our protagonist, what the hell is kabaddi? And kabaddi is a team contact sport, not unlike a sort of competitive tag, but to do that, to say that only is a bit reductive, especially when it's coming from the Indian Southeast Asian diaspora. And literally doing enough research where it's like, oh, you know, it was a demonstrative sport for the Olympics one time. It's getting to that point that like a lot of things are getting to in terms of having enough money to have a presentation, and it's like the presentation is very much like Dodgeball, the Vince Vaughn movie. I don't say that to demean that either. It's like, what do you think about a highly produced show or a highly produced sport that's not basketball or soccer? That's sort of the vibe that ends up being taken just to have enough viewer interest. And that is also what this anime is really getting at, where they will just sit down and tell you, like, okay, here's how the sport works. You've got people that are trying to like enter the enemy's zone, and if they can enter the zone and get back out to their side, they'll win. And so your goal is to make sure they don't get back, and there are multiple ways to do so. Like, it gets into the nitty-gritty of the sport, and then alongside that, you do just have the story of like, oh, this is a guy that's learning how to like be normal and have friends again and trust in the power of teamwork, which is fine. Like, again, it is going beat by beat, but with a sport that is definitely off the beaten path, I think that works. I don't think you need to add a lot of nuance for something that is already trying to demonstrate such a different roadmap of a introduction. You have the guy that's like, you have the senior who is like so like the brainiac of the group and is like ready to divulge the main character's like streamer identity if he doesn't join the team, because he's like, I'm an asshole, but I also want you to have fun. You have two himbos. Well, it's another thing where they're all himbos, but like it's a different kind of dumb.
Is he still streaming while doing this?
Well, we haven't touched on that yet. I am a little bit behind, but it's, whereas Backflip I could definitely watch multiple episodes in a row. Burning Comedy, I'm probably going to take an episode at a time until I can get back to that weekly, just because like it is a bit of a slower pace. But like I said, not the worst. Those Snow White notes.
Ooh. Oh, now I know what this is.
I don't want to say it's bad, because the premise is there, and I think it will get there again. So, the Snow White Notes is about a kid who is a shamisen prodigy, more or less. Grew up with the instrument through his grandpa. His grandpa was like very like a renowned shamisen player, but never really like got into the never really saw it as like an entertainment focus. He was like, oh, you know, like I play and I'm good at it, but I'm not going to make this into like a profession, or I'm not going to like monetize it, basically. I'm not going to try and like make bank off of it. And eventually his grandfather passes, and from that he's sort of like at odds. And overall the show is trying to focus on like, you know, you spend so much time trying to replicate and emulate your grandfather's sound. That's something that you very much like. Ultimately, with music, you have to learn that you are just as important in making the sound for your instrument. Your styling and technique is as important. You can have the written music of fucking Vivaldi. You can have the same arrangement, but depending on who you have perform it, it'll come out as two different like results. But you're dumb and 16 and a high schooler, so you won't get that yet until you actually like go through the process of growing up a little bit. So have fun with that. But the first episode presents that as, you know, shit, my grandpa died. I guess I'm gonna haul ass from Hokkaido all the way to Tokyo and try and figure this stuff out while I'm in the middle of the entertainment district, where he ultimately gets caught up with a hostess who's trying to figure out her own stuff, trying to figure out like, oh, do I stay in entertainment? Do I want to go back to school? her shitty boyfriend, and just a lot of moving parts that were interesting, and felt like, oh, this is going to be neat to see what is ultimately someone like taking a very traditional route with their music and blended into the entertainment industry of modern day Tokyo. Where is that going to go? How is that going to develop? When you get the fucking Yoshida brothers, the guys that literally got famous for doing that, and who were like, oh yeah, you know, like, we're going to play the shamisen, but guess what? Use it with our fucking, use it for the fucking Wii commercial, and bring shamisen music into the mainstream in a way, because you can just add it to, like, fusion hip-hop or whatever.
Yeah.
There is this build-up and this, like, whole display where it's like, the shitty boyfriend's band, like, can't go on, or, like, needs some time to recoup for a bit, because he just, like, got kicked in the nuts for cheating on his girlfriend. And, main protagonist boy is like, fuck, I guess I'm gonna go play the shamisen for a crowded audience. And everyone's like, yo, this whips. This dude whips. Like, let's see what this is about. Instead, his mother literally gets inserted into the narrative and is like, fuck you. You're gonna go to school nearby, because I know you want to be in Tokyo, and you're gonna join the shamisen club. It is very interesting that as soon as this other character is introduced, the entire direction of the anime shifts, and I have just seen, like, reduced. The more that the mom is incorporated into the show, the less I like it, and it is interesting to see a show still try and be like, oh, you know, mother knows best. I want to do this for you because, like, I want to make sure that you're getting the right kind of, like, like you were also being helicoptered by. Not a helicopter parent, because she went to go off and be, like, a model or whatever. The whole bit is that she abandoned her kids with her grandpa so that she could go and have, like, a lucrative modeling career and, like, singing career, I guess. But it is so interesting to see the direction change in the span of one episode. And with that, you do have to go through the whole thing where it's like, oh, we're the Shamisen Appreciation Club, but we don't know how to play the instrument. Oh, we gotta learn how to do it in time for the tournament. There's friction in the group, even though we could literally just talk to one another and understand that, like, hey, I get kind of nervous and weird when competition is at stake. Give me, like, 5 minutes, and I'll be ready to go. No, you think you're better than us and that you're hot shit, and it's like, yo, no, that's not the case. It is so. It is interesting to see a show get pulled away from the more interesting dynamics, especially when there are some interesting character beats. There's stuff that's cool. There's like a guy that's like the number 1 ranked shamisen player, and he's low-key a pervert about his instrument. And, like, it's fun to see him be all perverty about his instrument, but then it's kind of like nothing else gets built on top of it. And it is frustrating in a way. I've never felt so frustrated by a show in terms of, like, I've seen what you're able to give me, and I wish that you could go back to that instead of doing what is definitely a safer route that has less, like, returns.
Right, like you're saying, like, it's interesting. Well, I mean, you're saying. I think it's interesting that you can point it to that one character, that one aspect being the thing. Because it's very rare when a show gets less engaging that you can point to that one thing, right? Like, usually you're like, oh, where did we go so wrong? And like, well, maybe it's this or that. But, like, this feels like a very defining thing to you. Like, you can figure it out immediately.
And I'm curious whether or not it is just a thing where pacing is fucking it up, where it's like we're on episode 7, there are probably 5 to 6 episodes left, if we're only going to get that many, because who knows nowadays with like the duration of a season. But like, if I'm missing stuff that is just in the manga, then that is also unfortunate, because I'm sure that this could also be done in a way that it doesn't feel as forced. And maybe it comes across that way in the manga, but in terms of what I've seen, it's like I'm gonna finish it out just because like I've hit the halfway point. I might as well write it out. I'm surprised that it is the one of the three that I didn't really like, that I had high hopes for, and it's diminished. And Backflip, I'm surprised that I'm liking as much as I am.
That's really interesting. Where when you were first describing, when you were just starting off describing what this series is, I for some reason my mind immediately went to March Comes in Like a Lion, Rigatsu no Lion, where much of the show series, because it's a manga series also, ultimately ended up not revolving around what you think it was focused on, which is shogi, which similarly has a protagonist that essentially is going into this hobby, this profession that is stereotypically associated with like older people, with like elderly, right? And this is a similar case here, I think, where, you know, going into a very traditional instrument that seems to be is struggling to gain grasp like amongst new generations, right? And at the end of the day, that series focused more so on the interpersonal relationships between the characters and like how the main character is coping with depression, and clearly went through like a lot of trauma, and like how shogi is really just a foundational tool used to progress the story, and like, you know, like be like being used as like a reference in terms of like how the character is growing and like what his relationship with the game is, you know, whether or not it's healthy for him, and like whether or not he was forced to it. And like the show actually has been compared many times to Queen's Gambit, and like it's just very coincidental that they have like a very similar premise where they're both about main characters who struggle with their mental health and like have a toxic relationship to the sport they're playing. But yeah, ultimately that's what it sounded like. It sounded like a series that was going to go that direction, where it's like, okay, this is not what I expected. And it, like, as you started going more into it and like your own disappointment with what the show is about, it definitely sounded more structured and very like typical as what you're going to expect from like a sports club series, you know. And it sounds way more structured compared to the other two series that you've had stronger feelings for at this point. Like, and I wouldn't be surprised, and probably also agree with your sentiment that maybe it is an anime specific issue. We don't know. You know, I don't know how. I don't know again if it's like one of those series that is much longer and probably still ongoing. I imagine like that tends to be the case. It's like sports series last forever. Like, I wonder if there was something missing that the anime unfortunately like jumped into, or like jumped the gun in regards to like presenting. I don't know, like just how the characters go. I don't know, like, yeah, I don't know if it jumped around and potentially like you're missing a huge cut of the experience or not. Maybe it actually is that way in the manga, right?
Yeah, it's really just a case where it's like, I don't know what the source material is doing, and if that is doing something different, then maybe that's what I want ultimately.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like, I don't know. I'm also saying this because, like, as a former band geek, motherfucker, you're talking about phrasing. you need to learn how to do phrasing, and that's something that you just learn with time, and just don't get so... I'm not gonna say that, like, don't get upset that your grandpa's dead, but also he deadass said, like, bro, my sound is dying with me, and you cannot replicate that. Focus on doing your own. Do not be me, be you. I literally grew up in the war. I grew up in the post-war. You don't know what that is. You're gonna have a different sound when you're not fucking playing the shamisen out of poverty, homie.
I just looked up like how this series looks, and here's a panel preview from Volume 1, and I'm just baffled by this piece of dialogue. Grandpa died, and so did my sound.
Yep.
Devastating.
I like my sound. That's like, a good way to put it.
Yeah, sound is in quotes. That's so they don't even know what the sound is.
It is all focused on sound. Like, I can hear the sound. I can feel the sound.
Oh no.
Yep.
I think it's good. I think that's a good way to.
It's good. Imagine Monokuma with a shamisen.
Sounds good.
But yeah, no, it's like, I don't know. He can make shamisen shoegaze instead of.
Oh, that'd be good.
Fucking,
that'd be great.
Like there, again, you bring the Yoshida brothers in to do the soundtrack because of course you do. They're the guys, and it just feels very, very simple. You dropped your paddle for your shamisen.
Right, it's like making it an issue where it was never an issue. It's just making issues out of non-issues. It's like just for the sake of melodrama for the series.
Yep.
All right, cool. I don't have a good transition for this one, so I'm just gonna say I've been watching Moriarty, and they went back in time and had little baby Moriarty take a dude to
We have a lot of
court.
time traveling. Wow.
Yeah, they did.
Well, this is a flashback, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So-
Not literal time traveling.
Yeah, so basically the new arc is about Milverton, who's a famous Sherlock Holmes blackmailer guy.
Oh yeah. Okay, I remember.
It's not a name.
It's like Augustus Milverton or something like that.
It's unfortunate.
Shut up.
Well, he's a rich British man in like the 1700s. Of course, this is what he's like.
That's a Harry Potter spell.
Well, they're not as focused on this guy yet, but
Okay.
he knows
okay.
that Moriarty is the twisty evil boy, and he's gotten blackmail, and the blackmail that he's gotten, that he's found out, is a trap that they set, that is this court record of when, and they show this whole scene where little baby Moriarty, when he's like 10 or whatever, took this dude who was misappropriating orphanage funds for the orphanage they lived in, this rich dude.
Mm-hmm.
He takes him to court and does the Merchant of Venice on him, where he has in the contract, this dude has reneged on contracts before or something. That's the whole thing with the funds, but he gets him basically to say, like, if I can't pay the money, I'm going. You can take a pound of my flesh or whatever, and they do a bunch of elaborate stuff. Whatever. At the end, he is. They are just showing twisted little baby Moriarty with a knife going, all right, judge, if you said that he can't pay the money because he said that he doesn't have any money, because he basically did classic rich thing, shell companies and like all this stuff. So it's like nothing is in his name in the legal sense. So it looks like he has zero assets on paper.
Yeah.
But like they just do a bunch of stuff or whatever, and a bunch of like insane mind games or whatever, and he's like, all right, judge, well, you can't disagree that in the contract it said I could take a pound of his flesh if he couldn't pay. And the guy's just like, what? And he just like starts walking to him across the courtroom with like his glowing red eyes. And I was like, why was he a serial killer when he was a baby? Like, he's more normal now, and he's still killing people, but he's more normal.
He's controlled it. He's contained his deviltry.
Yeah, yes, exactly. It felt like more like, oh no, like this show could have been a show about Komida, but this kid like read Marx or something, even though it doesn't exist yet. Instead.
Yeah, that seems like a weird ham-fisted like piece of backstory that we weren't even alluded to in the first season.
So it's he did it after he got adopted.
Okay.
So he was already adopted. They had already done that whole thing.
Okay, the fire incident
Quote,
happened. Okay,
yes.
he's already twisted. Okay.
He's already done all that stuff.
twisted.
And this is basically, he was going to the orphanage, and he still went to the orphanage, I guess, when he was a child to teach the orphans stuff, since he's a stupid, fucking massive genius dude. And I think at one point in this he says, I can recite any of Shakespeare's plays by heart. Because the guy's like, why does the little poor kid know how to do this?
Why does a poor kid know about the guy that wrote plays for poor people?
I know. That's
Yeah.
But
But I get what you mean.
this guy's a very, like, all the rich people in this are over the top, obviously, but to a certain extent you go, well, that's what rich people are like, you know, like it is certainly like an absurd
this poor kid can't read. Yeah,
exactly.
This poor kid can't read.
you did
I
more
would
accurately.
love to
Thank
see
you.
the dub for this. I've already been like,
If they do not have British accents, that is a failure on their part. Like, ugh.
I've already been liking they translate Yoroshiku as cheers. Like, I've already been liking the Britification or whatever of the. I think they do a great job localizing this. But yeah, it's a.
Otsuka no Hito stole me mobile.
But yeah, it was a very strange episode, but it's still enjoyable. Like it's again, like I said, the thing about Moriarty that we've always come back to, we've been talking about it, is it's over the top.
Yep.
A lot of the times you go, this is just ridiculous. But like, I still feel like to a certain extent you go, well, I understand where this is based of. I can think of real life rich people who are just like this, right? Like not all the
Right.
way not like maybe the most absurd one was the guy who hunted people for sport. Just from the way he acted. But like, you know, like you look at all these other ones where it's like, you know, this dude like the first arc was like this dude like kidnapping and killing kids or whatever, like poor kids because he knows no one will go after it. The most recent arc was this dude basically like trying to set up Jack the Ripper so that they could like profit off of the concept of Jack the Ripper by killing poor prostitutes and stuff like this. And it just feels like the main thing that struck me about Moriarty is even if it's over the top, I found that its politics have just been so impressive in the field of anime specifically. Like you're not seeing a lot of stuff that is as progressive, I guess, as this. Like you don't see most anime when they're talking about like, hey, look, they're rich people and they're dying. They usually characterize it as like an evil, like a bad thing to happen because it's like the loss of any human life is. But it's like Moriarty takes that back and goes like, well, no, because think their mere existence is ruining so many like other people's lives. Like it's destroying all these, like it is destroying the beauty of other people's lives. So like they forfeit that right basically. Like I think it's it's impressive to see that in a way that where they're positioning Moriarty as like a good guy, right? Like basically like he's a good guy, and I know I keep coming back to that, but it's the thing that most impresses me about it. Because you almost just keep waiting for like the shoe to drop, as it were, like them to be like, oh, he went too far or whatever. Like right. Like people make those posts about like that Avatar kid and stuff like that. All those characters. Like, were you a freedom fighter who did something randomly evil so that the creators didn't have to make your point seem good? Yeah. But yeah, that's good. And then just a small thing I'll say, just to wrap up my stuff, is I did start Kamen Rider O's. Ooh.
Hell yeah.
Is it ooze or
I like to call it ooze, but my girlfriend got really mad at me for calling it ooze.
It's like cereal.
Ooze. It's O's because they collect the medals 1, 2, 3 as the insane ska song goes.
Oh.
At the beginning.
Life goes on. Anything goes. Coming up O's.
The whole. So have you seen this before? Have you seen this? Yeah.
I have a little bit of a Kamen Rider history.
Okay.
I started watching Double.
Okay, that's the one I just
Double
finished.
and O's. I am like halfway through on both,
Oh,
so
okay,
I have to go back and pick those up. Forze, I am currently trying to go through in conjunction with another podcast, and just trying to catch up with those. I finished Drive. I finished Gaim, the fun, serious one that for adults, you know.
Oh yes, definitely.
It's I had fun with it, but no. Yeah, and those are the ones I've seen thus far. But yeah, no, O's is, from what I've seen so far, a lot of fun.
Yeah, like it has got this whole like ska stuff going on. Like I said, the opening ska, but like there's a bunch of incidental ska music also for the things. It's interesting to go from the like saxophone double stuff. Yeah, it's really interesting to see these specifically because I feel like everyone says like O's, Double, and Forze were like the start of basically like what modern Kamen Rider is like to a certain extent.
Yeah,
like you got the comeback in like 2000 whatever with Kuga, and a lot of the stuff ended up being based off of that for a little bit, and then like I feel like this, you get to the more like bombastic comedy with Double and stuff like that, and all those that come after it. Double, I think, might be one of the first ones. Like they were definitely leaning into it with some of the older stuff, but I feel like this is where they really started going. And O's is really great because it has like Ankh, right? Like Ankh is an insane character that exists. He's a hand, okay? He's a hand, like an evil, like, you know, Sentai monster hand that usually possesses a guy and gives him like crazy hair or whatever. Or sometimes he gets yanked off and he's just a floating hand who's talking to people, and it's really, really good. And just having that as a main character, having him do insane shit. Having the main character be this dude who is just off the shits constantly. This is good. It's good. Not much to say about that because I'm only like 10 episodes in, but it's good. It's a good show. John, would you like to talk
Hi.
about... I've been hearing about Zombieland Saga scatting.
Yeah, so they
You wanna talk about that?
they had another Lily episode, and it was good. It wasn't as good as the original, because the original I feel like was like, goddamn, how can you beat that? But they focused more on Lily being like a child star, and kind of touching on the whole like a lot of this season has been kind of touching on specifically them being zombies and not being able to age. So it's just kind of her kind of it's her embracing that more than anything, and she basically enters to do like Japan's Got Talent. She's just like, yeah, I want to do a little presentation of myself to get Franchushu's name out there nationally. And this was not like an idea by anyone else. She comes out and is just like, I'm doing this, y'all are gonna support me, and everyone is just sitting down and just like, yeah, okay, yeah, we'll do that, yeah, sounds good, Lily. So that goes on, and she runs into another child star who is just like a shithead. He's this little boy who is very up his own ass and steals her ideas to like undermine her. And so he does this very like straightforward version of a like a slow moving song, and then at the last minute, while he's doing it, like stealing it from her, she takes that song and turns it into like a scat version, and she kills it. And it's just like this really cute moment of her, taking this like total like this loss, this time where she was just gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna lose because he's just gonna upend me, and she turns it around. And then I don't want to spoil what happens, but it's good. It's a good episode. Highly recommend. And then the episode after that was they finally had a tie episode, and they did not go into her backstory. It was just an episode of her having an adventure by herself, while her and Romero the dog go out on an adventure to buy some groceries. And I really don't want to spoil that one because it is very funny. It's probably the funniest episode this season so far. But it also wraps up something that was like an overarching plot in this season in like the funniest way possible. Again, I would say just watch it. It is very good. Zombieland Saga is just as good as it was. Highly recommend. Very good, very funny. Good show.
Yep. It rules.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I would say. Is just it is still just as good. Very very well animated. Still very funny bits. Remember Miyano still fucking killing it every episode. It's good.
Well, want to talk about Super Cub also?
Sure. Yeah. So
Get into that.
we've continued to watch Super Cub, and it's still such a bizarre show. It's so bizarre. The main character is, I don't know. She's just so obsessed with her bike. The bike is her life. The Super Cub is her life, and I guess the life has also garnered her a wife because she's extreme. There is extreme Yuri shit going on with the other girl who rides the other Super Cub at the school, because they have like they have a cabin getaway for like a weekend.
They do.
Yeah.
Only them two.
Yeah.
That whole cabin. That's like something you would do in a group usually, but it's just
them.
two.
Just them. And it's just them like riding around on their cubs, and then there's this whole story about the other girl. I don't remember either of their names. I apologize. But the other girl,
Reiko is the energetic,
okay,
more
Reiko.
Extroverted one. I think.
Right.
I think so.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll go with that.
Maybe I might be wrong. I don't remember her name.
I'll go with that. If I'm wrong, But Reiko has this whole story about her trying to drive up a mountain on her cub, even though it's like not made to do that.
And it's fucked up.
It is very fucked up. She is constantly.
It just shows her constantly falling off, brutal.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, cheeky little, oh, I fell off my bike. No, it is like full on. She is falling off of her bike. She is banging her body against the hard ground.
Rock music.
Yeah.
We haven't had that like until now. Like there's intense rock music against it.
She's getting capital I injured. Her bike is getting fucked up on this mountain. But she wants to ride up there. She really wants to get to the top. And then the next episode is even more Yuri because they are like, they're having a class trip, and the whole time both of the girls are very excited to go on their trip together. And it's like one of those, like, oh, we're going to like an onsen like hotel, and also gonna like go around an area to look around at all the sites. And like the day before they leave, the main girl gets sick. She has a fever. And then the day after, I guess her fever breaks, so she's okay. But everyone had like already left on the bus. So she gets on her
oh shit.
She gets on her cub and drives the whole way. And she gets like in extreme trouble because they're like, oh, what if what if you crashed? What if something happened? You're very far away from home, yada yada. But she still gets to stay. And then she has like a romantic evening with her GF, where they're both riding on the cub because they don't even like go out and see any sights or anything. They're just like, oh, you brought your cub, huh? Well, we're gonna ride the cub, and they have a full on like arms around the waist, riding together, bike ride, and again, it's very romantic, and also very much obsessed with these fucking motorcycles.
There's like a third girl that has yet to be hinted at, like if she's like on the visual. There are 3 girls, and I have not seen hints of like whenever this third girl might come into play and potentially challenge this dynamic we got going on here. But
yeah, is this going to?
Yeah, these two have been dating. These two have been on a date like every time.
Is this going to be a 4-way couple instead of the 3-way couple that it is now between the 2 girls and the cub?
The cub itself, yes.
And specifically, it is the main girl's cub, because, like, you know, the Reiko's cub is...
She's kind of, like, jealous that she has the quote-unquote cursed bike.
Yeah. Even though they disprove the curse, because I guess, like, one guy just, like, died because of some illness, and then the other 2 people just, like, moved away or whatever. So it's not actually cursed. It just, they say it is. So it's a normal cub, and she's just, you know, driving it around, having a great time. One of the funniest bits was, I think, at the start of the episode where she, you know, rides, like, you know, far away from home. She mentions getting, like, an extremely minor upgrade to her engine. Like, she can go, like, very slightly faster. Like, it's not anything to write home about whatsoever. But she brings it up very proudly.
Sort of thing, like, yeah, it's the sort of thing like a car or bike enthusiast would notice that I don't really care, you know, like, but something very minor like that, they would feel it.
Mm-hmm.
I totally get it, but it's something I will never understand, I think.
I mean, she's had this for what, like 2 months or some shit, and she's already like, all right, so I got this tuned up. I went in and I, you know, bought this part, and it's like, she's lost it. She's fucking lost it. And another thing that I mentioned that I realized in this episode too, she must have like blown through her money from work really quick. I mean, yeah, she did upgrade the engine or whatever, but because 2 episodes ago she did like a job for a whole month, and you know, I mean, she was like, I think she was getting gas covered and everything too. So I don't know what she spent all that money on. Because I don't think it was, like, taxed or anything like that, because it was just, like, a school errand job. So, I don't know what the hell she was using all that money on, but, yeah, she then was like, oh, I saved up a little bit of my scholarship money, my meager scholarship money, because I guess that's what she lives off of. So, I don't know. She's just, like, living off of that. Her life is very confusing. I don't know, you know, how she is doing what she's doing. She's probably just like spending hundreds of dollars like every week on gas because she's driving around in circles.
John, it's fine. She's a Honda influencer.
Right, yeah. So Honda's paying for all her bills and yeah. Okay. She's just got to post on Instagram.
They just leave the money out front.
She got to post on Instagram like 3 times a week, at least 5. 5 stories, and she gets paid like $200,000.
Ford, or something. She has to insult a Mitsubishi or something.
Yeah, has some beef with other wine. Yeah.
Takes photos of her accident and is like, "This is what happened when I tried to ride a Mitsubishi."
Yeah, do you think she would have a more twisted online persona if she's this withdrawn?
Oh, totally.
Publicly? Do you think she's like an
sure.
animal? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, she's definitely going on the scooter forums and arguing with like 50-year-old men over the different scooters.
She has like a jillion posts, so like she I don't know if like the forum has like a gaming system in the sense of like there's levels and like she has like a very high level like membership.
Grand Poobah, and they're like, you've been here for like 2 months. What the fuck?
There's titles. Yeah, she's like thousands of posts and I've reached that level already. She has access now to locked out like sections of the forum because
she's that
because it's like goes out to newbies
in a forum basically. Like, that everyone's like, oh yeah,
no wait, she does forum posting, but exclusively on like Amazon review.
Oh god.
No understanding of how to actually get to an online forum, but whenever she has to shop for parts, she's just like, no, that's not how that works. I know. I've had my cup.
But she doesn't explain why. She just disagrees.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So like
Leaving the question.
1 star. No.
Yeah.
she writes like full blog posts about like her day under stuff she likes.
She doesn't get how the stars work, so she uses them to like she uses them to rank the conversation and not the actual product.
A lot of great people here. That's 5-star. This is a 5-star room.
The 1-star review. This killed my wife. This engine killed my wife.
That's how she gets into the sponsorship deal. She says that about the other thing. All right, yeah. How about we do one more for you two, and then we can wrap this up so we don't go too crazy. All right. LV, what would you like to talk about here?
Wow, what would I like to talk about? What is more pressing? Oh my gosh. Okay, so you know, killed slimes over 300 years, right? It got stressful. It got stressful all of a sudden. I don't know if you're caught up.
I think I'm 1 episode behind, but it's fine. Go
okay.
right ahead.
Yeah, I didn't realize this is a series I can spoil. I'm gonna do that though. So she's an elf, right? That's I don't know their names. I'm going them by their
the energy drink one.
Yes,
like
yes, yeah, right.
Or something like they're fantasy names.
Yeah. They're like here's this fantasy class here. That girl's an elf, right? Like I'm not misreading what she's supposed to be. She's just she's drunk all the time and aloof.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. She got possessed by a ghost, like in the last episode, right? And they figured that out. But she's just been getting in all sorts of trouble, and it just keeps happening to her. That's very stressful. Like, I don't understand. Like, why do just like this happen to her all the time? Is it because she's like the aloof character? That's like mean. I really like the last episode prior, like where, essentially, the scope of the series is that, yes, this woman that gets isekai'd is now like this eternal witch that helps this village because of how, and then accidentally gets powerful because she just underestimates how much time has passed, and now she's just building this like lesbian commune, you know, she's just a million girlfriends and children and daughters. She just basically became this accidental maternal figure too, right? Giving advice to all these people with all these problems. Like for instance, like as I was going to, like this episode I focused on like the dragon girl and like how like there's like a marriage going on in her family, and like there's like all this stuff in regards to like her confronting like me being a dragon, like, and it was just very sweet. And like, again, like the main character, or like our witch main character, she's just like providing like maternal support. Like, I don't know, it's like confused between maternal and romantic. Like, I don't know, it's a little, but like as I would say, it's just like she's just building like this beautiful like commune going on situation here outside this village, and they don't seem to mind all these monster girls are now living there. I guess it's not a problem. But yeah, the last couple episodes have been just dire to the elf girl. Like, they're just abusing this girl. Like, again, so as I was saying, she was possessed by a ghost. They're like, what's wrong with her? Like, what's going on? And so in the end, they helped, like, the ghost that was for some reason possessing the girl. And ultimately, it was just like, she was just troubled. We were like, I guess the implication, she was someone who actually died. She was, like, not a ghost species, which I know sometimes is seen as a distinct thing. Like, okay, there are ghouls, but that doesn't imply they were like a living thing at some point. They actually are like a distinct thing, but it doesn't seem to be the case here. It seems to imply this person has been someone that once lived and they died and are now a ghost. But she had this whole dilemma, insecurity over like, I didn't think like there was anything like worth experiencing at this point. Like, I didn't realize that people can still appreciate me like in this form. So that's why she kind of like went out of her way to possess the elf girl, because she thought that was like the best situation she could have, like, in terms of an avatar, and being able to like quote unquote live, even though she's dead, but quote unquote being able to live a more idealized life like in this afterlife form. But and she learned, and then like with the help of like the main character, like, and all that, she realized, okay, I can just be myself. I can just be a ghost. This whole series is just about this witch girl helping these monster girls be comfortable in their own skin. It's like weirdly charming in that way. Not what I expected. I went into the series thinking like, oh, it's just gonna be like making fun of like isekai, like hijinks and all that, and like I had a problem with like Kuma Kuma Bear like last season. I could not get into it. I just felt like it was very bland because that was all it was doing. But this one like genuinely is like, like all these girls just bonding and like supporting each other emotionally with some antics in between. But the antics really like went off the rails with the, again, latest episode. Again, more abuse taken against the elf girl. They just keep putting her in all these dire situations. But they basically meet the Demon King, who again is an anime girl. Like, so King is just a title. Like, King in this case is not bound by gender. That's kind of neat. But the elf girl like accidentally. So this basically happens in an episode. I don't even remember what happened in the rest of the episode that led up to this, because I was just so shocked that this just took the turn it did. Like, the elf girl accidentally, like, I think headbutts the Demon King girl, or something. I don't know what happens, but she accidentally knocks her out. Like, she renders her unconscious. Yes. And now the rest of the group, like all these guards, again, they're meeting, like they're in the Demon King. Like, all these guards start surrounding the rest of the group. Like, you guys are now like under fucking jail because of what the fuck happened. Like, she basically committed regicide. The elf girl like committed regicide by accident and like committed a fatal crime. And literally, like, the little twin girls, they're like, I don't, like normally in like the human kingdom, like if you commit like a crime against royalty, like you're gonna get executed, and like that's what's happening here. Like, at the end of the episode, literally the elf girl like gets sent to jail. She is so shocked by what just happened. She is rendered silenced, And literally the episode ends with like, yeah, the elf girl is like now like on death row for probably accident. The Demon King is not dead, but they basically interpreted what she did as like a horrible offensive act that she would harm like royalty. That she is now on death row in the Demon Kingdom.
Yeah, like
What the fuck?
Yeah. So like just a really bad string of luck for the elf girl, where like the initial concern of like they set you up to think, oh, this is how she's gonna fuck things up for herself by going like, oh yeah, you know, here are the demon hot springs, they're super
Yeah. They were like
too long.
They were basically on vacation. They were just there.
Yeah.
Like one of the demon girls was like, yeah, I'm going to show you around. Like I actually have, you know, like I have like these higher, you know, and it just took to a turn for the worst.
Yeah, you assume that'll be like the crux of the show, where it's like, oh no, the elf melted because she's a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
But no, like that turned out to be fine. Instead, it's, you know, oh, we're here to see the Demon King. Hey, little girl, move out of the way. We're here to see the Demon King. Just big timing.
Yeah.
The actual Demon King.
Yeah.
And then being like, oh, you know, thank God that the Demon King is chill. And all you have to do is bow. And
Yeah.
oops, you literally got up too fast and just brained the Demon King with the back of your head.
She headbutted her by accident.
Just full on.
rendered her comatose, probably. Yeah.
I think the bit was like, oh, the soul's leaving her body right now. He hit her so hard.
Like, holy shit. I don't know what's gonna happen next. I don't know what they're gonna do to get her out of this situation. It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
The elf girl really needs a redemption arc. Like honestly, throughout this whole series so far, like every episode has been like, yeah, here's like the good qualities of this one character. The elf girl has been just like doing with relentless abuse, like after like been the butt of the joke, like every episode. And now we're here. Now she's like on death row for like regicide. Like I cannot believe this. I did unexpected turns.
The dragon episode itself was pretty fucked up.
It was. I didn't think it was strong otherwise, but it was
I was
fucked
just
up.
like, it was such a strange vibes from the ending when the blue dragon gives the red dragon girl who's getting married flower. It's like, okay, really weird.
Yeah, it was like there was like weird tension there that felt unresolved, but I think ultimately in the end, those characters weren't the focal point anyway, and I don't know if we're ever going to see them again, but I get what you mean.
She's in the opening, so she's my favorite. The blue dragon is my favorite part of the opening, where she's kind of just like poking her finger at the screen, and there's just a very innate reaction I get.
Yes.
I feel like, yeah.
It's like, me?
Me?
But yeah, they're going to have to free the elf girl from jail or something. I don't know. They're going to kill her.
No, you can't die. You're so sexy.
I think the funniest thing to me is just how she just keeps referring to these two as her daughters just the entire time. I think it's really good.
Yeah.
She's just like, it was instantly like, yep, these are my kids. Sure. Fuck it. It's good. Like I said, when we first started watching the first episode, I was like, it was okay on, and then the second episode on, it's just, I thought it's been much better. It's been more consistent.
Just collecting monster girls.
Yeah, it's fun. It's goofy. All right, Maverick, do you want to talk about? I'm interested in this one. The Kimetsu no Yaiba movie, or Demon Slayer movie, I guess I should say.
Yeah, so this, literally the day before recording this, I was like, let me get out of the house and let me just watch a movie. Let me go watch the Demon Slayer movie as my first cinematic showing back from just the first movie I've seen in the theaters for like a minute. And you know, I watched all of the first season when it came out. I was so invested enough that I went to read the manga. I finished the manga, and knowing what was going to come up with this movie, so it is leaving off where the first season ends, if you were only watching from the anime, and that they are setting up for the Mugen Train arc, which is what this movie is. I think it's a very smart idea to look at when you have an anime adaptation, looking at arcs and deciding like, okay, so we have the ability to set things up. I think very serendipitous that they wanted to do a movie, and rather than just do something on the side and basically just have it be filler where it's like, oh, we'll come up with a demon, we'll have things like we'll have things that are like a nice little set piece, and we'll come back to the main story. I think one part realizing that it is a very scarce manga. Like, it is a short read compared to some of the other stuff in Shonen Jump.
Yeah.
And it is very methodical in its pace. It does not dawdle in any of its momentum. Mm-hmm. So to look at that and say, if this whole thing is a contained arc with a beginning to end and very marked in that beginning and end, let's make that the movie. And I think that was a very smart choice, instead of holding that off to be like the first 6 episodes of the next season. That gives more time for stuff that's going to be coming in the future. And I think with the very prolific success of this movie, that at least provides a roadmap not only for the rest of the series. I assume that they might end on a movie, again, given the momentum and the pacing of the overall series, but I hope other anime follow suit and realize, like, okay, like, this could probably translate to film. This could work better as a 90-minute, if you're daring enough for it, 2-hour production, than try and chop it up for an episodic format. I'm hoping things look at that and follow suit. But as for the movie itself, I mean, I did not expect to be so, like, emotionally affected. I was straight up crying through so much of it, and not in a way where it's like, oh my god, things are so sad. Like, the narrative of Demon Slayer is very much about having to find resilience and having to find a motivation to continue when things seem at their bleakest. And I think they found a way to weave that into this movie that was so to the core of what the series is overall, that I think that affected me more. And the fact that it's like, oh, you're like, you're unrelenting in how much you just want to, like, focus on the fact that, yeah, dude, the demons suck. They want you to not, like, they relish in the fact that they are not human, that they are literally just evil guys, and that just makes a lot of the Demon Slayer motto of, like, relishing what it is to be a human and what it is to be alive, basically. Like, it is a very celebratory thing, the Demon Slayer core, at its heart. Because, before I get into a bit more about it, like, how caught up are y'all with Demon Slayer?
I think I'm the only one who watched it all, I think.
You're good. Do what you want.
I did watch it all as well.
You did?
At some point, I was, yeah.
Well, yeah, you're the fucking Nezuko icon haver, that's right.
Love to be in a box.
But, I mean,
Yeah.
she do be in a, oh, this movie, she's in a box.
Hell yeah!
Good to hear, I guess.
She's in that box. You get some solid shots of her in that box.
Good.
But
That's good to know.
no, like, this is very much a continuation of those themes that were starting to be presented, and really just getting to the, like, I think to have this movie come out after a year of, like, being cooped up inside and really just having to, me personally, like, I just spent a lot of time thinking and a lot of time just, like, being so of a mind during the pandemic, that to have something so unabashed in being able to say, like, dude, you're gonna die one day, but honestly, that's what's gonna, like, make you live your life to the fullest, which a lot of shonen does, but the thing that Demon Slayer is good at is getting to the core of what makes those tropes and dynamics enjoyable and presents it in a way where it is over the top and it is grandiose, but you feel invigorated by that. I think that really shone through. Like, Tanjiro is still just the most wholesome kid in the world who is doing what he has to for the greater good, and you want to, like, it makes you feel for him in a way where you're just like, give me the sword, you're done. I look at me, you're done, because I'm gonna protect you. You want to do the Mamoru? I'm gonna do the Mamoru, motherfucker. Go and live your life, you little piece of shit. I love you. Inosuke is a boss bitch queen. Love Inosuke. Really just that dude. And the Flame Hashira, who is really just the like the new character introduced for this film, and is definitely a main player for this arc as well in the manga. Like, that doesn't change. Rengoku really comes across as someone that is also eccentric in his own way. You immediately get why, and it's good to recognize, like, oh, we only have one movie to make this guy leave an impression. We gotta make sure he leaves the right one. We gotta make sure you understand why he is at the level that he is, and why everyone, like, the main characters ultimately do, like, look up to him as a kind of, like, role model and of, like, important figure. The animation is incredible. It's been a while since I've seen something be to that kind of a caliber. Like, Ufotable really knocked it out of the park with making sure that the CG, while you can tell that it's there, was never distracting. The incorporation always felt natural in conjunction with a lot of the 2D animation and the 2D itself. I mean, very visually striking. It is a show that really knows how to make its action and its very, like, over-the-top violence. I say over-the-top because, I mean, it's an R-rated film, so for the US rating standards, it doesn't relish in the gore of everything, rather the aftermath of battle. A lot of it is, like, lingering on the cuts that happen and on the aftermath of, like, how things have gone through. And I think that is a very smart way to present your violence. And soundtrack is fantastic. If you remember the song from from episode 21, you know, the moment that everyone's like, oh, hey, this is a good show. Guess what? It's a leitmotif. It's recurrent. They find ways to include it into elements of the story that make sense, and it is so good to hear it every single time. I really can't stop singing its praises, and I'm glad that I came in with an expectation of a fun, enjoyable movie that will get me to the next part of the adaptation that they're ultimately going to do. But coming out of it, like, it is so interesting to see what is coming out of the current crop of animators, mangaka, people in charge of adaptations, the current anime industry doing what they are able to. And for as much praise as I can give the actual craft, it is a travesty that a lot of the money that the movie is generating, the mangaka is not seeing. And that there's still a lot of work in that capacity where you do have, like, young artists as well. The mangaka for Demon Slayer is only, like, in her 30s. The mangaka for Jujutsu Kaisen, like, literally cited Bleach as one of their inspirations. So you can tell that they were a kid growing up with that and seeing that as a way to, like, reflect what they would eventually do with what is now, like, the next forward momentum with anime, really. Anime and manga currently. And hopefully there can be more work done to make sure that we can still keep this kind of a caliber without having to sacrifice wages without having to sacrifice the proper setup of labor. And because I hope that we can get more of these, but I would also want to make sure that the people that did the work are paid accordingly and respected accordingly, because a lot went in to make that movie, and I think it is fitting that something that you can tell has some... The thing that I take away the most out of watching that film was that I got to see not... The opening credits, the opening production credits, weren't just Sony, Funimation, then you get to the movie. You got to see every single production company on board with that.
Yeah.
And I can't think of the last time that I saw that for an anime film. I want to see more crediting. I want to see more things put into that effort. And I think it's fitting that something that is very much the product of multiple groups is the film that is surpassing the prior #1 animated film in Spirited Away.
Yep.
The work that is very much seen as Miyazaki. One of the last examples I can think of an auteur. And there's a lot more that I can think about that. I might put down thoughts to paper, but I don't know. Like, if you have the chance to see this movie, go see this movie. If you have to watch Demon Slayer first, watch Demon Slayer. Mm-hmm. It's a fun time. I cannot sing its praises enough.
Yeah, everything you said is absolutely true. It was very unexpected how successful this movie was, especially in the midst of the pandemic. And I think it was very... You bring up a great point if it possibly also was timing that played a role into it. Because, oftentimes when, some people who like... some people who like Demon Slayer, but also it's a little difficult to describe why it's so successful the way it is. And I think timing really was a bit, and that's not a bad thing, but I think timing really was a big pivotal thing for it, where it came out following, the conclusion of things like Naruto. It was kind of the start of the quote unquote new generation of shonen.
Yeah.
And this film coming out in the midst of a pandemic with the themes it has was a source of escapism for people, and it works too that people like Demon Slayer. Plus, it actually looked good. And in one way, it's surprising that it's now surpassing and broke the record of what was one of the most successful anime films in modern times. But it's also not surprising. And I think that's just reflective of what people want to see now. And I agree. It would be interesting if more series took note that sometimes things can just be an OVA. Sometimes things can just be a movie. We don't need to stretch this out across multiple episodes and make this deeply inefficient. And, having really enjoyed Jujutsu Kaisen, last season, that season 2 for it, I think it's really interesting how shonen is evolving. It's a shame we're not really seeing this is a totally different point, but it's a shame we're not really seeing that boom for shoujo and how it all it's been awfully quiet on that front, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. At least in terms of anime adaptations. Shoujo is still a thing in manga, but it's unfortunately not the most trending genre right now compared to how shonen is really, I think, at a interesting point again where there's a lot of interest in it, and we're now seeing a new approach to it where it's a little more dark, it's a little more violent, but that's okay. People want that. But yeah, you bring up really great points throughout what
I had mentioned this in other I had mentioned in other discords, but I am really excited for 10 years from now the aspiring mangaka who are who grew up on Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen, Chainsaw Man.
Yeah.
These
Chainsaw Man. Yeah.
Basically things that can be seen as a new addition. We're seeing new modern classics come into form in a way that is very accessible and monetize, that can be easily monetized. And I think that is one very different for anime as a medium in general, and I can see a lot of pushback and seeing like, oh no, this is just a fad. This is just something that like will pass by once time is like gone through. But you know, like these are the things that kids are watching right now. These are the things that the general audience is taking a look at now. And I can only help, I can't help but be excited for what's going to come as a result of that, with this being the foundation for, like, the middle schoolers who are picking up Jump for the first time or watching this movie as their first solo theater experience.
It's really funny.
really
It's rated R.
Over here, yeah. It wasn't in Japan.
Yeah, I know. It's like, oh man.
I know. No, I think that's a good point. I think it's also just like the pacing of them is such a good entry point now. I remember being worried when I saw like Black Clover starting to kick up, and Black Clover is still that same classic shonen, we take forever doing everything type
No
deal.
one really talks about it.
No,
in, like,
not
high-
really.
It never. It
Apparently
had
it's
its
doing
moment in
fine,
the
but
beginning.
yeah.
And now it's.
Yeah.
I know.
Well,
one,
it's just like
it's not.
It's like
ta-
you're saying those
yeah.
all these shows we've listed, though they have a much different pace. Like Demon Slayer's 24 episodes in a movie, Jujutsu Kaisen's 24 episodes, like something like Chainsaw Man or something like that is going to be like a 24-minute episode thing, also probably. And
Yeah.
like these things are just going much faster. They're not wasting a lot of time. They're not feeling tied down. This is the first time I've looked at it and I go, you people like learned how to work within the weekly format without being dominated by it.
Yeah,
in the
with
Shonen Jump
restraint.
format. Because
Yeah.
like you look at like something like even Hunter x Hunter realistically, or like the older stuff like Naruto's the worst one. And you
Right.
look at it and you go,
With
wow,
Centaurs.
everything in this is made for those cliffhangers, those that
One
buy the next
Piece.
thing. One Piece is ugh,
One Piece is never going to end.
no.
My Hero Academia is suffering a lot, I think, from this
Yeah.
currently, in the fact
Yeah, I think
There's
I think they are like I think one of the I don't know why I'm saying they as it's like a whole it is the last I think series that I think is in the shadow of that legacy. I think so. In terms of like a
Yeah.
big series.
every episode you just gotta always reintroduce these characters because we have too many guys.
Yeah, because you forgot about all 100 of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like I was feeling a little shonen burnt out, I think. Like I liked Demon Slayer, but I think we all agreed here when we watched Demon Slayer the anime itself week to week, there was like this arc that was pretty mind numbing. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, and we just
I
stopped
remember
talking
y'all
about it.
talking about that. Yeah.
It was like it was a training arc or something, I don't know.
Yes. Yes, it was
But
around midway,
like then
yeah.
then it kicked back up and I liked where it ended and stuff. But like I watched that, but then after that I was trying to watch Black Clover. I was trying to watch a couple other shonens I can't remember right now. But I was just watching them and I was like, oh, and then Jujutsu Kaisen came out and I was like, oh, holy shit, I love this. I love how fast it's going, that it has a definitive like endings for where they're going with this, the production values. Obviously now we know some stuff is going on at Mappa apparently. I don't know if y'all saw that in the last week, but since Mappa seems to be turning into a shonen studio, I guess. But yeah, this format is much more interesting. It is much more accessible, and I think it'll be very interesting to see if this carries on, like you said, or if it fades away and we go back to the old ways or something, or
Really hope
maybe a
not.
completely different new thing. I hope not either, because like I fell off Boku no Hero.
What if they get shorter?
Ooh.
That'd be
12 episodes. Don't be crazy.
Yeah.
You're going.
And that's it. No more. That's it. Just 12. And like that'd be incredible. That'd be brave.
I'm very interested to see where we go from here.
So you want the Promised Neverland season?
Oh.
Yeah, you want that slideshow.
This is like
You want that
by
slideshow.
cutting content completely, like just utterly skipping whole.
Just have one episode be chapter 100, and then the next episode
and then
be
they
248.
time travel.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Goldie Pond, never heard of her.
All right, yeah, I think that's good. I think we talked about enough for this episode. I
Yep.
think that covers a lot of stuff. That's a good a good wing to end on. I definitely want to see that movie, for sure. UFO Table at their prime is something you love to see. You love to see it.
If you can watch it in the theater, I highly recommend. It is definitely a movie that takes advantage of the fact that you're going to be in an open space.
Okay.
The loud parts, they go loud, and the moments that it goes quiet, you definitely feel it.
Yeah, Promare really pilled me into the cinema experience for anime movies, because before I had seen like Madoka movies and a couple other things, and that's like fine, but I don't think that's like, leveraging what it feels like to see a movie in a cinema in the way that I imagine this is very similar to Promare in that regard. I can already visualize it in my mind. Like, I bet seeing Kara no Kyokai in movies would have kicked ass, probably. But yeah. All right. Cool. Thank you all for joining me, especially Maverick. Thanks for coming on for the first time. It was great. It was nice to have you.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. Gladly. It was great. It was great to have this complete conversation roundtable. Get to more stuff next time, hopefully. They fit back into figuring out how to budget 4 people all talking again. But I think we did I think we did fine. But I want to, thread that needle. All right. Next time we're gonna talk about Love Delusions and Chunibyo.
Chuny Eye Patch.
Yeah,
Girl
Chuny Eye
Show.
Patch Girl Show, as it's written
That's what
here.
I call
The Kiwara.
If you literally enter that, I'm like, I don't remember the name of this. You just enter those terms. It pulls it up right there.
Yeah, you'll just get it if you just search Chuny. I've learned that much.
Yeah.
I can't wait to talk about my time in middle school.
Same.
Oh.
But yeah, we're watching that song Crunchyroll and Netflix, I believe. So yeah, get set up for next time. Again, you get episodes of the show 1 week early, $3, patreon.com/VGCC. You can also ask us questions at videogameteacher.tumblr.com/ask. Take questions, we'll take opinions, all sorts of stuff. But yeah, that about does it. So see y'all next week on another episode of Unlimited Railworks. See ya.